It was the summer of 2014. My internship was coming to an end to one full year of rotating through different departments, working with different people, building relationships that still stay strong. In fact, I now work in a hospital where a person I met during internship and I worked with for 45 days now is an accomplished specialist as I knew he would be, and also recently treated my mother very successfully. When it was coming to an end, I did get a chance to talk to some of my colleagues, my co-interns, regarding what I felt was the most difficult aspect of internship way back in 2014. I felt that the most challenging aspect of internship was not having fixed sleeping hours. I felt that the one aspect of internship which really bothered me was that nobody knew when you would be called to report for duty. You could be called in the middle of the night at 2 a.m., at 3 a.m., and if you were on call, you had to report. There was no alternative. If you don't report for duty, patients could die. So, the habit of always being aware of where your phone is and the phone is ringing and you have to wake up and you have to go, or you have to stay awake the entire night. These habits were inculcated in us during internship and I did not really like it. 11 years later, I am quite accustomed to it. And I also wanted to know what my co-interns felt was the one thing they did not like the most. Now, because of my roll number, I think it was 23 if I'm not wrong, most of my co-interns at that time were female. And the one thing that my co-interns, almost all of whom were female, said that they did not like was the fact that they were not treated with as much respect as male co-interns or male interns like me. So that got me thinking, have things changed? Because a new batch of interns is about to begin their internship in a few days. So I reached out to them and I asked them, have things changed now? I asked them specifically, do you get the same respect as your male colleagues? And a few of them were kind enough to respond. And one of the responses was that I will read it out to you. My male co-interns are referred as sir or doctor, and we are referred to as Didi. That is a reference to sister or a nurse. It even happened that a male non-medical staff was called doctor, and me standing next to him sorting out the matter was called Didi. Another person said something quite interesting. One patient came and told one of the female senior residents of pediatrics that I won't show my son to you. I want a real male doctor. This is happening in 2025. Things don't seem to have changed that much. Why is this the case? At the very outset, I want to state that I have nothing against the nursing profession. There is nothing wrong in being referred to as Didi if you are a nurse or if you are a sister, as we colloquially refer to nurses in this part of the world. But people who address female doctors as sisters, consider them to be nurses, do not consider them to be nurses because they have an overwhelming respect for the nursing profession. They call them, the female doctors, nurses because they lack respect for the female gender. They cannot imagine in their own mind that a female can be a doctor, that a woman can be a doctor, that a lady can be a doctor, can be as qualified and often more qualified than their male colleagues. That's a problem with the mindset. That's a problem with the mindset that our society is still grappling with. And it is a problem that I have witnessed firsthand, and I only noticed it after it was pointed out to me. I don't want to explain the situation too much here because that would be me mansplaining to you. Let me, a man, explain what mansplaining is to you. Oxford Languages defines mansplaining as the explanation of something by a man, typically to a woman, in a manner regarded as condescending or patronizing. I don't want to explain too much about this, but this topic was suggested to me, and I do want to address this. So when I first heard about it from my co-intern, I had to pay close attention to it, and she told me that Pushpen, if you pay close attention next time, you will see that if two of us are sitting at the same table, the questions are usually addressed to you because they naturally assume that you are in charge, despite both of us being colleagues, both of us being from the same batch, both of us having the same degrees, and I have more marks than you. She did not say that, but I knew it. I knew that she always got more marks than me. This is something that women in the workplace have to face quite regularly and certainly have to face in the hospital environment. I have seen it myself subsequently. It is something I always have called out, and you have to understand that this is not the right thing to do. There are situations, even in my day to day practice, even now, when I tell patients, go and talk to the sister or go and talk to the nurse regarding any further queries, they turn to my doctor colleague sitting next to me or sitting at the opposite end of the table and wonder if that's the person I'm referring to. To which I always helpfully point out there is a nursing station right down the hall near the reception, and you can find this nurse there. Please talk to them. Also, it needs to be pointed out there are male nurses now. We are in the 21st century. This is 2025. There is no gender stigma here. Doctors is not necessarily a male role, and nurses is not necessarily a female role. That is way back in the past. Let's not live in that era. In fact, many students, especially in MBBS that I teach now, majority of them are now women. So we may be headed towards a world where most of the doctors in India would be women. Let's treat them with respect.